For all the water and work and wishful thinking,
with God's help, it'll be fine.
It has been a week of waiting and wondering for the people of Crown King.
I mean, our town could be wiped off the entire map today.
No idea if it's still there or not.
At one point, there were 650 firefighters focusing most of their efforts on a town of 120 people.
We've been doing structure protection since we've been here.
And as the fire rolled over thick, dead pine forest, it was enough to char a rattlesnake in mid-strike, and much more.
The 3 buildings have burned down and the winds have kicked up and going back into Crown King. It looks really nasty, really scary.
We've had friends' houses that are gone, and some stuff that you lose is irreplaceable.
But for Danny Stranger, the only solace was his family's safety.
That's some material stuff. It'll be replaced. You can't replace these lives right here in front of me. Not a chance.
For his 6-year-old daughter, Serenity, it was much more confusing.
Because the house is going to be burned down, I think, all day. And I think we're never going to go up there again.
But today, as the Lane 2 fire continued to test its opponents, fire officials are much more confident.
We've got a pretty good wind out here now, and yet they've still been able to, keep it out of the inhabited areas.
For little Serenity, it seemed simple.
If there's no fire, we can just stay in the house and relax.
But firefighters say safety is much more complex. And for now, the waiting game will go on.
Crown King is in the mop-up stage now, but the highway or road leading into Crown King is still being threatened. So while they'll continue to protect the area around Crown King, they're not going to let the residents back in until that road is also safe.
There could still be some smoldering spots in there, hot spots, but boy, this has been a significant rain.
What does it mean for the evacuees?
For the evacuations, we'll know more tomorrow once we know how much rain actually hit on the fire. Very nice surprise. This is the break the firefighters have been waiting for, and a significant event like this can pretty much put this fire out.
Everything. My lunch is still sitting on the table. The coffee's right on the floor where I spilled it as I went out the door. My plants, one of my cats got left behind, but she's been found.
The sound and sight Crown King evacuees had been waiting for. Friday's rain doused most of the Lane 2 fire.
I just jumped up and down and went looking for a puddle to jump in and thank the rain gods.
Edna Gamble and more than 100 other Crown King residents can now go home after a rough week.
This has been home all week, but I don't mind at all. My house didn't burn down.
A dozen buildings did burn this week, and the fire grew to 10,000 acres. And while it's about 50% contained, the threat level is now low enough to allow many evacuees to go home.
Oh, great. Been motel hopping and bed hopping, so it's nice.
Did you think it'd be this soon?
No, we thought it'd be Monday.
Several lined up hours before deputies removed the roadblock.
I was wondering who'd be first in line behind me.
But for now, only people who can prove they are Crown King residents are allowed in. People with cabins in the Horse Thief Basin area, tourists, and everyone else will be kept out until Tuesday.
It's a meal Dan Hicks didn't think he'd get again, at least not at Cindy's Cafe in Crown King.
That was just one of them situations where you're just like, anything can happen at that point, so.
As the 120 full-time residents trickled back in to check out the town today, Hicks had the story of staying for the fire. He works at the water department and couldn't leave.
Well, when we were standing over on the general store porch, and I was standing with Ben Bowles, the owner, and we were looking at it, and we could see the flames just right there, and we both kind of looked at each other and said good luck and went our separate ways. And
we live up on the hill, so we go up on the hill and you can see where the fire, how close the fire came. You can see the black coming down off the ridges. It wasn't that far out of town. It was real close. So.
But the historic little town looks like nothing happened in many areas. Around it, however, moonscaped mountains show the scars that some say offer protection now.
Now we're safe. Because of the fire, we're safer than we've ever been since I've come up here.
Meanwhile, the flag is back flying high above the town and the green leaves along the roadsides. For the people who've made their humble little life in this place, there's a lot to look forward to.
We're glad we still have our greenery within our bowl here of Crown King. Yeah. But to look up there, it's a super scar, and it's going to take a few years to get green again, I'm sure.
All of us are real thankful. You know, these firefighters, they really put themselves on the line for us, and we're just thankful to have our homes come home to.
That so many people would come to our rescue, as small as we are. Very nice.
Yeah, make sure you hit the volunteer firefighters. Those are the heroes.
I didn't get an email.
You see, it depends on the intensity. There's not a lot of vegetation.
More than 600 firefighters worked on the Lane 2 fire in the Prescott National Forest. Chris Davidson's 19-year-old son, Josh, seen here as a child with his hero, Smokey the Bear, is one of them.
I know that that's been his dream and his calling, and I am so proud of him.
But it's brought a lot of sleepless nights for Chris.
I get a lot of gray hairs from it.
Especially this week when firefighters on the Lane 2 fire had to deal with rough terrain, snakes, and old mine shafts around Crown King.
I worry about all of them, not just my son. I worry.
There's 600 of them fighting this fire.
Exactly, and I want to worry about them all. So.
But this time, instead of just worrying, this firefighter mom decided to do something. She joined a dozen others, becoming the newest Red Cross volunteers.
We went through this new employee and volunteer orientation packet.
The Red Cross helped the fire crews and evacuees over the course of the week. Becoming a fire volunteer helped put Chris's mind at ease about her son on the fire lines, but not completely.
Well, we have a rule that when he's on a fire, Mom needs a text at least every couple days that says, "Okay, I'm okay, Mom." And
Jared Dillingham, 3TV, the place with more news.
Amidst all the chainsawing and chopping and confusion,
it says, please deliver fuel to Road 259 at Vista Point. Is this Vista Point?
Crown King wants to be back in business.
It's Crown King, Arizona, the way America used to be.
There are still a handful of holdouts on the mountaintop town as it sits surrounded by charred ground, bare bushes, and a wildfire that won't let up.
Because when it flares up and starts moving fast, it's hard to control.
Back at Ben Bowles' General Store, the power came back on today. His famous fudge never even melted.
We got a great recipe, and everybody loves it.
But everybody is not as lucky.
We've had friends' houses that are gone, and some stuff that you lose is irreplaceable.
Some say much of Crown King is as preserved and pristine as ever.
You can't tell that there's anything happened.
But Herb Shepard is holding off on the homecoming plans for now.
I noticed it's coming back around the backside up here right now, and so there's a chance that it can still come down in here.
It's a chance that chaps him, considering that authorities think lost hikers lit the fire. Shepard says he saw them after their rescue Sunday, eating lunch.
They brought up the fact that they were the ones that started the fire and that they'd had the worst 24 hours of their life.
Meanwhile, it's been the worst 4 days in recent memory for many. Still, they have hope.
Yeah, I think if the weather holds good for them, they'll be able to handle it.
And in a place that prides itself on being open to all, they say don't close the door on Crown King just yet.
With God's help, it'll be fine.
When the fire crews on the front line need an extra hand, they put a pink powder into the mix, kind of a Kool-Aid to calm the flames. At Black Canyon City, helicopters sucked up the solution of retardant and sailed off.
These giant helicopters are so precise, they can get right down to a tree if they need to.
And if they can, while soaking the fire with retardant is a big boost to the ground efforts, sometimes it's not an option.
The temperature of the air highly influences how they can approach a fire, and sometimes they can't. The winds are just too strong. That happened to us yesterday.
The thick, dead forest being burned by the Lane 2 fire has concentrated heat so greatly that it created cloud systems overhead that eventually mushroom and send a blast of cold air back down to fan the flames.
It will bring winds of 40 to possibly 60, 70 miles an hour. And fire will go in all directions. So if they're behind it, they could suddenly be at the head of the fire instead of the tail end of the fire.
So even with the help of the helicopters and retardant, fire crews are facing all the elements. Some say fighting them will be a heated battle.
We can't deal with fire when we have these extremes of weather and fuels.
This is essentially the perfect storm for a fire.
It is. It really is.
For the nearly 700 firefighters trying to save an entire town, the obstacles around them are endless.
All the hills and slopes and chimneys and hard to get to.
And although they couldn't get to 7 homes and buildings in time, they're still swinging away. Meanwhile, Steve Shivala is swiping away.
You want to get another one?
5 days after the Lane 2 fire began and burned 10,000 acres, Shivala's company has captured the catastrophe in silk screen.
So we stop production on other areas. We go into production for fire shirts. We'll print 300 shirts, and one of us takes off.
It's the 4th fire he's hit this week, and for firefighters, they're a hot item at every one.
It's just a souvenir, yeah. Just to put on, you know, and wear around. Everybody says, oh, you've been on that fire too.
No, I just like the t-shirts because it's a souvenir from which fires we go to.
I'm proud to be able to be here with them. I think that it's an honorable place for me to come and make my living.
But some people who live near the path of the fire think he's just making money on misfortune.
People lost their homes out there. I mean, that's their lives that is up in flames. And the guy's out there selling t-shirts.
What kind of souvenir could you take away from this? I mean, it's not like you're going to Disneyland on vacation and picking up a t-shirt. It's a fire. It's a serious thing.
And Shivala doesn't deny it's serious or that he gets a guilty conscience sometimes.
To be honest with you, I think about it myself. I'm here. I'm making money off of the fact that the forest is burning, but really I'm making money off the firefighters so that they can have a shirt. I have to convince myself of that.
To many firefighters, it's a badge of honor.
Just all the hard work that we do out there, and it's like, I don't know, it just means a lot.
And at $20 a badge, it means making a memory for some and a profit for others.
Because this is a one-shot deal, you know, you're here, and then once the fires are done, it's gone. These guys are gone, they're off to the next fire.